now we're meeting Pogues internationally, and I think that's a cool dynamic.
International Pogues.
International Pogues.
Sounds like a reality TV show. Watch that show.
This sort of idea of what the Pogues sort of chased over the first really 19 episodes was this peace of mind. And they talk early on about what they would do if they had the 400 million in gold. And it was all about going and getting off the grid and doing what they wanted to do with themselves. And although there was a lot of losses along the way, and obviously in the finale of season 2, there's a lot of chaos that they go through. But they get to this point to where they finally get to take a breath and sort of reset. And there is a lot of reflection on what had just happened in an unfortunate way, but in a necessary way for young kids, to understand that through trials and tribulations, you're going to fall, but it's about picking each other back up.
My old man used to tell me, it's best to never say you've hit rock bottom. Trust me, he said, you can always go lower.
In the finale of season 1, JJ says, we'll meet you there. And at the end of season 2, I don't know if exactly the writers planned that, but we did end up meeting them there.
When I found out that the Pogues, we were all stranded, I was like, how, just what are they going to do? I want to know. That's a massive cliffhanger for us as well. So we're just as curious to know what happens and how they get themselves out of this one.
This is all perfect because, I mean, there was really, I didn't think there was a way that like the gold would come back to the Outer Banks. So I'm happy that we are like moving towards it, We're all kind of there on this island together. And it's like this melancholy moment where like, it feels like we failed again, but it also feels like we gained something. We gained like our bonds got a lot closer, our resolve got a lot stronger, and we found out we could do more as a group than we thought we could.
I get it. You guys are scared.
No.
It's just the
I'm not scared.
It's not. You should have just led with that.
It'll be a really cool dynamic to see like, because like the Pogues is kind of an abstract idea anyway of like, it's a very broad group of people. And I think, like the Outer Banks Pogues has already been established, and it's really going to be cool to see like what are Pogues like in other places, and like, wow, we really have so much in common. Like we're the Pogues in Outer Banks because we have this in common, and it's like now we're meeting Pogues internationally, and I think that's a cool dynamic.
International Pogues.
International Pogues.
I think the thing that I'm interested in with Cleo is, she has so many assets to the Pogues that all of us kind of wish we could do. But we obviously can't, like the whole scene with Pope in the engine room and just that opportunity to just get one up on him and how she helped us so quickly in the end. So I think it'll be interesting to see where it goes. We kind of really don't know her, and we've embraced her pretty quickly into this group of, just the 5 of us. So what does this new dynamic bring? What is her background that we don't know? How does that play into this, next chapter, so to speak? But I think she brings a lot of flair that throws them off. And I think it's much needed for all the Pogues to see somebody who can put them in their position, and keep them in their place. So I'm excited.
I love working with Carlacia. Our scene, like you said, our scene in the engine room was, one of my favorites to do in Barbados. She does bring a fire and like definitely like a different type of street knowledge. It's a character who grew up in the Bahamas and is like kind of just like moving from place to place. Like exemplifies the Pogue life. Where it's like you kind of like are ready to start knowing more about her origins, like what drives her. The more you know about her, the more you sympathize. And I think like her becoming part of the Pogues and adding to this dynamic. I think she fits that kind of like crazy, just like move. I go head first. Like, we're all in this together. We're young, but we have to like when we feel like we have a thing that we want to accomplish, that no matter what, that we have that drive to do it. And Carlacia exemplifies that. And I think Cleo's character exemplifies that too.
Pogues are survivors, and we survive in the Outer Banks, but Cleo, on the other hand, survives anywhere. And I think that street knowledge, like JD was talking about, that flair, that kind of like, no, I know what to do in this situation. She has kind of an upper hand in quite a bit of things, and brings a very interesting, like, I don't honestly like twist to like what the Pogues are gonna have to like. If she's gonna kind of, I feel like taking charge. I don't know, but that's where I see her going.
She can add some of the technicalities to our crazy plan.
Mhm.
He's typing. He's typing.
It's him.
So there's a line that John B and Pope share in the dinghy towards the end of 10. And Pope looks to John B and says, "This shit ain't over." And then I, in a very North Carolinian way, say, "No, it ain't." And I think that's sort of a representation of where this is going. You know, this whole idea of the gold for 20 episodes has been about their freedom from what they want to get away from in society. But ultimately, as they all understand, it's a lot more than that. It's the journey to finding themselves.
Maybe, you know, so corny, but maybe treasure is like having each other, and maybe that's what's worth it. Maybe it's not the material thing, even though obviously we're still going to go after it.
You know, as run and gun JJ is, I have a certain feeling for JJ that he still has a responsibility to want to keep his friends safe. And so I'm kind of curious to know how far JJ is going to want to go with getting this cross, or at what cost is the gold. And I want to know if he's going to be, you know, more run and gun still, or, you know, or if with Cleo also involved, you know, how with them teamed up, how far are they going to want to, like, because they're both kind of like, let's go do this. This is the plan kind of people. But I also want to see maybe JJ, I like kind of feeling a certain sense of like, maybe this isn't exactly worth it to get killed. And I think this comes out season 2. So like in season 2, the feeling of like, man, so many people I almost lost, and JJ loses his dad, and we feel like that's the ending of that, but we're not quite sure. And if he loses any other family, I don't know what's gonna happen to him.
I want to see more. I want to see more character stuff for her. I want to see more relationship dynamics. I want to see her come into her, like now that we've seen her kind of separate herself from her family. I want to see her come into her own, and I want to see her develop into an independent young woman, and maybe have to grow up a little bit, even, you know, more so than she already has in the span of these 2 seasons going on this crazy ride. I want to see her find independence, and I want to see her learn maybe a little bit of what the real world is like, and, you know, what comes with that. And I just think that would be really fun. And maybe for like normal reality to kind of slap her around a little bit. Maybe she has to get a job, or, you know, what her relationship with John B looks like, or what her relationship with all the individual Pogues look like. I'd love to see some Sarah and Key stuff, and some Sarah Pope and Sarah JJ, like relationship dynamics. And I'm really interested to see, you know, if anything more happens with the Camerons, what that looks like now that she has officially decided that it's kind of, it's over with them.
You know, for Pope, it's just like, you know, the cross is still out there, you know, his, you know, it means a lot to, you know, not only him, but, you know, his family and his heritage. And, you know, I still think that's something that's going to continue to keep him awake at night and continue to kind of push his fire for hope, you know, maybe the rest of the series, you know, that connection back to, you know, what's important.
You kind of see all of our characters in the same place, with like, we really are all in the same boat, literally, and have nothing on this island. So I have quite literally no idea where this is going to go.
There's a sense that I think I got where reality is going to sink in really fast. And you can't live this whimsical paradise experience for forever, especially like with what JD was saying, where you have to acknowledge the fact that they have been sort of swept out from under their feet multiple times on this journey. And what are they going to do to finally try to find a solution to that? And I do think that the resilience and the experience on the coastal venture that they had is going to eat at them. And these kids don't like to lose, as we know. John B hasn't won a lot of fights, but he still keeps trying. And the Pogues continue to have each other's backs and make sure that although there's a lot of slipping up and falling, there's this relentlessness that continues to push forward. So I think it is a very serendipitous ending, but something's telling me that it's gonna, be a very quick turnaround for them to want to go after the things that they've had taken from them.